Welcome to the fascinating world of rare coins, where even a small piece of copper like the 1940 Lincoln Wheat Penny can hold incredible history and surprising value. Today we are diving deep into one of the most talked about coins among collectors, a simple-looking penny that could hide rare features, hidden errors, and unexpected worth. At first glance, it may seem ordinary, but behind its worn surface lies a story from the past that could change the way you look at old coins forever. So stay with us, because what you are about to discover might just open the door to a hidden treasure in your own pocket. The 1940 Lincoln Wheat Penny might look like just another old coin resting quietly in your collection, but hidden beneath its worn copper surface could be a story of surprising value and historical importance. At first glance, it seems ordinary, circulated, faded, and without a mint mark, but collectors know that sometimes the most unassuming coins carry the greatest secrets. This small piece of metal was minted during a time when the world stood on the brink of change, and that alone gives it a powerful place in history. When you hold a 1940 penny in your hand, you're holding a piece of the past, an era shaped by economic recovery and global tension. These coins were produced in large numbers, especially those without a mint mark, meaning they came from the Philadelphia Mint. Because so many were made, most examples you find today are indeed worn and circulated. However, condition is only one part of the story. What truly drives value is rarity within commonality, the small differences that set one coin apart from millions of others. Even in circulated condition, a 1940 Lincoln Wheat Penny can hold surprising value if it carries unique characteristics. Collectors search carefully for details like sharp lettering, strong date visibility, and minimal damage. But the real excitement begins when we talk about errors and varieties. A coin that might seem ordinary could actually contain a rare minting mistake, something that transforms it from pocket change into a collector's treasure. One of the most fascinating aspects of these coins is the possibility of error varieties. During the minting process, even a slight misalignment or die flaw could create a completely unique coin. Imagine a doubled image on the lettering or an off-center strike that shifts the design. These are not just imperfections, they are valuable signatures of history. A 1940 penny with such features can command far higher prices than a standard one. The copper composition of the 1940 penny also adds to its appeal. Unlike modern coins, which often use cheaper metals, these older pennies were made primarily of copper, giving them a rich tone and weight that collectors love. Over time, this copper develops a patina, a natural aging process that can actually enhance the coin's beauty and desirability if preserved well. Now here, where things get truly exciting. While most 1940 pennies are worth a modest amount, certain rare examples, especially those in exceptional condition or with dramatic mint errors, can reach into hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Not every coin will make you a millionaire overnight, but the possibility of discovering a hidden gem is what keeps collectors searching. It's important to understand that no mint mark does not mean no value. In fact, Philadelphia coins without mint marks are often the standard issue, but within that category there can still be rare die varieties. A small detail barely visible to the untrained eye can completely change a coin's worth. That's why careful inspection is essential. The wear on a circulated coin tells its own story. Every scratch and smooth edge represents years of use, hands it passed through, places it traveled. While heavy wear can reduce value, a well-preserved circulated coin can still be highly collectible. Balance matters, not too worn but not artificially cleaned either. Cleaning a coin is one of the biggest mistakes a collector can make. It might seem like a good idea to make it shiny, but doing so actually destroys its original surface and reduces its value significantly. The true worth of a 1940 penny lies in its authenticity, untouched, natural, and genuine. Another factor that can elevate the value is color classification. Collectors often categorize copper coins as red, red-brown, or brown. Even among circulated coins, traces of original red color can increase desirability. That slight glow of preserved copper can make a big difference in the eyes of serious collectors. The market for Lincoln Wheat Pennies remains strong because of their historical importance and accessibility. Unlike extremely rare coins that only elite collectors can afford, these pennies offer a chance for everyday people to participate in coin collecting, and possibly strike it lucky with a rare find. Imagine going through a handful of old coins and discovering that one of them carries a rare error or exceptional quality. That moment of realization, the thrill of uncovering hidden value, is what makes coin collecting so addictive. The 1940 penny represents that possibility perfectly. However, it's important to stay realistic while staying hopeful. Not every 1940 penny is worth a fortune, and claims of millions of dollars are often exaggerated. But there are genuine cases where rare coins have sold for impressive amounts, and those stories continue to inspire collectors around the world. So before you spend that old 1940 Lincoln Wheat Penny, take a closer look. Examine every detail, every line, every mark. Because hidden within that small copper coin could be more than just history, it could be a valuable piece of the past waiting to change your future. The next up top two, the story of the 1946 Lincoln Wheat Penny begins in a world just emerging from the shadows of war. America had just stepped out of World War II, and the coins minted in that year carried not just metal but history itself. Featuring the iconic profile of Abraham Lincoln, this penny represents resilience, recovery, and a new beginning. But while millions were produced, only a select few have captured the attention of serious collectors. At first glance, a circulated and worn 1946 penny may seem ordinary. Its copper surface might be faded, its edges softened by time, and its shine long gone. Yet hidden within these signs of age is a story that collectors deeply respect. Coins like this are valued not just for their condition, but for their authenticity, proof that they have traveled through decades of real human history. The D mint mark located beneath the date tells us that this coin was struck at the Denver Mint. This detail matters. While 1946 pennies were produced in large numbers, Denver minted examples can sometimes hold added interest depending on strike quality and preservation. Not all coins from the same year are equal, and even small variations can influence collector demand. Now, it's important to be clear and realistic. A typical worn 1946 penny is not worth millions or billions. In circulated condition, most examples are valued modestly, usually just a few cents to a few dollars depending on how worn they are. However, the excitement comes from rare exceptions. Coins with unusual minting errors or exceptionally preserved surfaces can sell for significantly higher amounts. Collectors are always searching for errors, those rare mistakes made during the minting process. A 1946 penny with a double die effect, off-center strike, or unusual metal composition could be far more valuable than a standard coin. These errors are like hidden treasures, often unnoticed by casual holders but highly prized in the numismatic world. Condition plays a powerful role in determining value. Even though your coin is circulated, small details still matter. Can you still see Lincoln's hair clearly? Are the wheat stalks on the back sharp or worn flat? These elements help experts grade the coin. The better the detail, the higher the potential value even within the circulated category. Another fascinating aspect is the metal composition. The 1946 penny is made primarily of copper, unlike the steel pennies of 1943. This return to copper after the war adds historical significance. While this doesn't make every coin rare, it does place it within a meaningful transition period in U.S. coinage. Some collectors believe that hidden rarities still exist in everyday coins. It's not impossible for an overlooked error coin to be sitting in someone's collection or even loose change. Stories have surfaced of rare pennies being discovered years later and selling for thousands of dollars. These stories fuel the excitement and keep collectors searching. However, the idea that every 1946 penny can instantly make someone rich overnight is more myth than reality. True high-value coins are extremely rare and usually identified, authenticated, and graded by professionals. Still, that doesn't mean your coin has no value. It simply means its worth must be evaluated carefully and honestly. If you truly believe your coin might be special, the best step is to have it examined by a professional coin grading service. Experts can determine whether your penny has any rare features, errors, or unusual qualities that increase its value beyond the ordinary range. Even if your coin turns out to be common, it still holds collectible appeal. Many collectors enjoy building complete sets of Lincoln Wheat pennies, and every year-end mint mark plays a role. Your 1946 coin could be an important piece in someone's collection. There is also an emotional value that cannot be ignored. Holding a coin that has existed for nearly 80 years connects you directly to history. It has passed through countless hands, witnessed decades of change, and survived the test of time. That alone makes it special, regardless of its market price. For those who are passionate about coins, the journey is just as important as the value. Learning to identify key details, understanding mint marks, and recognizing errors transforms an ordinary hobby into an exciting treasure hunt. Every coin becomes a possibility. In the end, the 1946 Lincoln Wheat Penny is not just about money, it's about history, curiosity, and the thrill of discovery. While it may not instantly turn you into a billionaire, it could still hold a story, a lesson, or even a small hidden surprise. And sometimes that's worth far more than the price printed in any guide. The next up, top 3, the 1950 Lincoln Wheat Penny is one of those coins that quietly hides in old jars, dusty drawers, and forgotten collections, yet it carries a story that can instantly capture attention. At first glance, it may look like just another worn copper coin, but collectors know that even ordinary-looking pennies can sometimes hold surprising value. The key lies in understanding what makes a coin truly rare and desirable, especially when it comes to circulated examples without a mint mark. This coin belongs to the famous Lincoln Wheat series, which ran from 1909 to 1958. These pennies feature the portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the front and two wheat stalks on the reverse, symbolizing prosperity. By 1950, millions of these coins had already been produced and circulated heavily across the United States. That means most 1950 pennies you find today have seen years of wear, fading their original shine and detail. Now, when we talk about a 1950 Lincoln Wheat Penny without a mint mark, it means the coin was minted in Philadelphia. Unlike coins from Denver or San Francisco, Philadelphia coins of that era typically did not carry a mint mark. These are very common in circulation, and in worn condition, they usually hold only modest value, often just a few cents to a few dollars depending on condition. However, this is where things get interesting. Not all 1950 pennies are equal. While the standard versions are common, certain rare varieties, errors, or exceptionally preserved pieces can command much higher prices. Even a circulated coin can become valuable if it has a unique feature such as a die error, double strike, or unusual coloration. The idea that a 1950 penny could instantly make you a millionaire is exciting, but it's important to stay grounded in reality. Most circulated 1950 pennies are not worth millions. In fact, even in excellent condition, they usually sell for under $10. The true high-value coins from this year are extremely rare and typically involve special mint errors or pristine, uncirculated condition. Still, collectors are always hunting for hidden treasures. A coin that appears worn could still have characteristics that increase its value. For example, a strong strike, visible details in Lincoln's hair, and clear wheat lines on the reverse can make a difference. Even small details like luster remnants or minimal damage can push a coin into a higher value range. Another factor that adds intrigue is copper composition. The 1950 penny is made primarily of copper, which gives it that classic reddish-brown appearance. Over time, coins tone and change color. Some develop attractive patinas that collectors appreciate, especially if the color is even and appealing rather than dull or corroded. Condition plays a massive role in determining value. A heavily worn coin with scratches and discoloration will be worth far less than one that has been carefully preserved. Even within circulated coins, there are levels, from heavily worn to lightly circulated, and each step up can increase value slightly. Collectors also look for historical context. The year 1950 was a post-war era in America, a time of economic growth and change. Coins from this period reflect that history, making them interesting to collectors beyond just their monetary value. Owning a coin from that time connects you to a specific moment in history. Now let's address the myth directly, the idea that this coin can make you a billionaire overnight. While it's a powerful and exciting thought, it's simply not realistic for a standard 1950 no-mint mark penny in circulated condition. The coins that sell for massive amounts are usually unique, extremely rare, and often well documented by professional grading services. That said, there are rare error coins from around this era that have sold for thousands of dollars. If your 1950 penny has something unusual, like doubled lettering, off-center strikes, or other minting mistakes, it's definitely worth getting it checked by a professional. These small details can transform an ordinary coin into a collector's prize. The smartest move if you believe your coin might be valuable is not to rush into selling it. Take time to examine it carefully, compare it with known varieties, and consider having it graded. Professional grading can authenticate your coin and give it a certified value, which is essential if you plan to sell it seriously. In the end, the 1950 Lincoln Wheat Penny is more about hidden potential than guaranteed fortune. While most examples won't make you rich, the thrill of the hunt and the possibility of discovering something rare is what keeps collectors engaged. Every coin tells a story, and sometimes that story can be more valuable than the coin itself. So if you have one of these pennies, don't ignore it, but also don't expect instant millions. Treat it with care, learn about its features, and explore its history. Because in the world of coin collecting, knowledge is the real treasure, and sometimes, just sometimes, that knowledge leads to a truly valuable discovery. The next up, top 4. The story of the 1945 Lincoln Wheat Penny begins in the final year of World War II, when the United States was still deeply engaged in global conflict, and every piece of metal mattered. Minted in Denver, this small copper coin carries not just monetary value, but a powerful connection to history. When you hold a worn and circulated 1945 penny in your hand, you are literally touching a piece of wartime America, a time when even the smallest denomination carried significance beyond imagination. The 1945 Lincoln Wheat Penny was struck at the Denver Mint, identified by the small D mint mark just below the date. Unlike the famous steel cents of 1943, the 1945 pennies returned to a copper-based composition, made primarily from recycled shell casings used in the war. This alone gives the coin a fascinating backstory. Your coin may have once been part of military equipment before being transformed into currency. In circulated and worn condition, most 1945 pennies appear ordinary at first glance. Their surfaces may be smooth, the wheat stalks on the reverse faded, and the portrait of Abraham Lincoln softened by decades of use. But within this wear lies authenticity. These coins passed through countless hands during a time when every cent mattered, making them silent witnesses to history. Now here's the truth that many people misunderstand. A typical worn 1945 Lincoln Wheat Penny is not worth millions of dollars. In most cases, its value ranges from a few cents to a few dollars depending on condition. However, and this is where things get exciting, certain rare variations and error coins from this year can be worth significantly more, sometimes reaching hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Collectors are especially interested in coins with minting errors. For the 1945 penny, these may include off-center strikes, doubled dies, or coins struck on the wrong metal planchet. If your coin has unusual features like strange lettering, doubling in the date, or an odd color, it could be far more valuable than a standard example. Another factor that can dramatically increase value is condition. Even though you mentioned your coin is circulated and worn, it's important to examine it carefully. Some coins may appear worn but still retain important details that make them desirable to collectors. Coins graded in higher conditions, even slightly above average, can command much higher prices. Color also plays a role in valuation. Copper coins are often categorized as red, red-brown, or brown. A fully red 1945 penny, even slightly circulated, can be more valuable than a dark brown one. If your coin still has traces of its original reddish shine, that's a positive sign. Let's address the dream many people have, the idea that this coin could make you a billionaire overnight. While it's true that rare coins have sold for extraordinary amounts, those cases are extremely rare and usually involve unique minting errors or historical significance far beyond a normal coin. The 1945 penny, while collectible, is not typically one of those million-dollar overnight coins unless it has an extraordinary and verified error. That said, you should never rush to sell your coin without proper evaluation. Many people unknowingly sell rare coins for far less than their true value simply because they don't recognize what they have. Getting your coin examined by a professional or comparing it carefully with known error types can make a huge difference. The historical importance of this coin cannot be overstated. Produced during the closing chapter of World War II, it represents resilience, recovery, and transition. Millions were minted, but each one carries its own journey through time, making even a worn example meaningful to collectors and history enthusiasts alike. If you truly want to unlock the potential of your coin, take a closer look at the details. Check the date, the mint mark, the lettering, and the edges. Use a magnifying glass if possible. Sometimes the smallest difference, a tiny doubling or a slight misalignment, can turn an ordinary coin into a collector's prize. Another important step is preservation. Do not clean your coin. Cleaning can actually reduce its value significantly by damaging the surface and removing its natural patina. Keep it in a safe, dry place, preferably in a coin holder or protective case. In the end, the 1945 Lincoln Wheat Penny is a remarkable piece of history. While it may not instantly make you a billionaire, it absolutely has the potential to be more valuable than its face value, especially if it has unique characteristics. Its real power lies not just in money, but in the story it carries from one of the most important periods in modern history. So before you spend it or sell it cheaply, take a moment to truly understand what you have. Because sometimes, the smallest coins hold the biggest stories, and in rare cases they can still surprise you with hidden value waiting to be discovered. The next up top 5, the coin you are looking at is not just a simple piece of copper. It is a silent witness to history. The 1942 Lincoln Wheat Penny was minted during one of the most intense periods in world history, right in the middle of World War II. Every scratch, every worn edge on this coin tells a story of survival, circulation, and time. When you hold it in your hand, you're holding a piece of the past that traveled through decades. In 1942, the United States Mint produced millions of pennies, most of them made from a bronze alloy of copper. Coins without a mint mark were struck in Philadelphia Mint, making them very common at the time. However, what was ordinary then can become extraordinary today, depending on condition, rarity, and hidden features. Now here is the truth that many people don't realize. Not every 1942 penny is valuable. In circulated and worn condition like the one in your image, most of these coins are worth only a small amount, typically a few cents to a couple of dollars. The wear you see on the surface, the faded details of Abraham Lincoln, all reduce its market value in the eyes of collectors. But the story doesn't end there. Some 1942 pennies can be extremely valuable not because of the year alone but because of rare errors or unusual metal compositions. During World War II, copper was in high demand for military equipment, which led to major changes in coin production in later years. This transitional period opened the door for rare minting mistakes. Imagine discovering that your coin is not made from standard bronze but from a rare experimental composition. While 1943 steel pennies are more famous, certain off-metal or error coins from nearby years, including 1942, can fetch thousands of dollars. These are the coins that collectors hunt for, the ones that can transform an ordinary find into something remarkable. However, claims of turning into a millionaire overnight from a regular 1942 penny are simply not realistic. The coin in circulated condition without rare errors is not worth millions. The excitement comes from the possibility, the hidden chance that your coin might be different from the rest. Collectors carefully examine coins like this under magnification. They look for doubling in the lettering, unusual marks, misprints, or anything that sets the coin apart. Even a small minting error can increase value significantly. That is why every detail matters, from the date to the texture of the surface. Another important factor is condition. Coins are graded on a scale, and a heavily worn coin like yours falls into a lower grade category. Higher grade coins, especially those that look almost new, can sell for much higher prices. Unfortunately, circulation over decades reduces sharpness and detail, which lowers value. Still, there is something powerful about this coin. It has survived over 80 years, passing through countless hands, markets, and moments in time. It may not be worth a fortune, but it carries historical weight that cannot be measured in money alone. If you truly want to unlock its potential, you should get it checked by a professional coin grading service. Experts can confirm whether it has any rare characteristics. Sometimes, what looks ordinary to the eye can turn out to be something special under expert analysis. There's also a growing market for vintage coins, and even common pieces can increase in value slowly over time. While it may not make you rich overnight, it can still be a meaningful addition to a collection or a stepping stone into the world of coin collecting. The idea of hidden treasure in everyday objects is what makes coins like this so fascinating. Every collector dreams of finding that one rare piece that changes everything. And while most coins won't reach that level, the thrill of the search is part of the journey. So don't rush to sell it cheaply, but also don't believe exaggerated claims. Understand its real value, learn about its history, and appreciate what it represents. Knowledge is what turns a simple coin into something truly valuable. In the end, your 1942 Lincoln Wheat Penny is more than just money. It is a story, a memory, and a connection to a different era. Whether it's worth a few cents or something more, its true power lies in the history it carries and the curiosity it inspires. The next up top 6, the 1951 Lincoln Wheat Penny may look like a simple worn copper coin, but it carries a quiet legacy from a powerful era in American history. Struck in Denver during the early 1950s, this penny represents a time when the United States was stepping into post-war strength, and everyday coins like this passed through countless hands, markets, and moments that shaped real lives. Even in circulated condition, its story remains intact, hidden beneath every scratch and faded detail. At first glance, a worn 1951 penny might seem ordinary, but collectors know that even the most common coins can hold surprising value under the right conditions. The D mint mark signifies it was produced at the Denver Mint, one of the major coin-producing facilities in the U.S. While millions were made, not all survived in collectible condition. and fewer still carry unique features that can elevate their worth far beyond expectations. In average circulated condition, a 1951 Lincoln Wheat Penny typically holds modest value, often just a few cents to a couple of dollars. However, the excitement begins when collectors start looking closer. Coins with sharp details, minimal wear, or original reddish luster, known as red condition, can command significantly higher prices. Even a small improvement in condition can multiply the coin's value several times over. But what truly fuels the dream of finding a fortune in a coin like this lies in rare errors and varieties. Some 1951 pennies are known to feature subtle minting mistakes, such as repunched mint marks or slight doubling in the design. These errors, often invisible to the untrained eye, can transform a simple penny into a highly sought-after collectible worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. The idea of a penny turning someone into a millionaire overnight is powerful, but it's important to understand the reality behind such claims. While there are rare coins that have sold for extraordinary amounts, most 1951 pennies, even with minor errors, do not reach life-changing values. Truly high-value coins usually combine rarity, exceptional condition, and strong demand among collectors. That said, the thrill of possibility is real. Imagine discovering that your worn coin has a rare die variety or an unusual minting flaw that experts have documented. In such cases, professional grading services can authenticate and assign a grade to the coin, which plays a crucial role in determining its market value. A certified coin often sells for far more than an ungraded one. Another factor that influences value is the coin's color classification. Copper coins like the 1951 penny are categorized as brown BN, red brown RB, or red RD. A fully red example, even from a common year, can fetch impressive prices if it is well preserved. However, most circulated coins fall into the brown category, which limits their value but does not erase their historical significance. The history behind the Lincoln Wheat Penny series itself adds to the appeal. First introduced in 1909 to honor Abraham Lincoln, it was the first U.S. coin to feature a real person. By 1951, the design had already become iconic, symbolizing American resilience and identity through decades of change, including the Great Depression and World War II. Collectors often emphasize patience and knowledge over hype. While stories of million-dollar pennies capture attention, the real value of collecting comes from understanding what makes each coin unique. A 1951 penny with strong strike quality, minimal contact marks, and eye appeal will always stand out more than a heavily worn example. If you believe your coin might be special, examining it under magnification is a smart step. Look closely at the date, mint mark, and lettering for signs of doubling or irregularities. Even a small detail can make a big difference in value. Many valuable discoveries have started with a simple closer look. It's also wise to handle such coins carefully. Avoid cleaning them, as this can reduce their value significantly. Collectors prefer coins in their natural state even if they show signs of age. Proper storage in a dry environment can help preserve whatever value the coin holds. While it's unlikely that a circulated 1951 penny alone will make someone a billionaire overnight, it can still be a meaningful and potentially valuable piece of history. In rare cases, exceptional examples have sold for hundreds or even a few $1,000s, especially in high grades or with notable errors. The true magic of coins like this lies not just in their price but in their journey. Every worn edge and faded line tells a story of decades gone by, of people, places, and moments that are now part of history. Holding such a coin is like holding a small piece of time itself. So, before you dismiss your 1951 Lincoln Wheat Penny as just another old coin, take a closer look. While it may not guarantee instant riches, it holds the potential for discovery, learning, and perhaps even a surprising reward. And sometimes, that sense of possibility is worth more than the coin itself. The next up, top 7, the story of the 1955 Lincoln Wheat Penny, begins in an era when everyday coins carried both history and hidden intrigue. Minted during the mid-20th century, this humble copper cent may look ordinary at first glance, especially in circulated and worn condition. But beneath its aged surface lies a world of rarity, collector fascination, and the possibility, though often exaggerated, of surprising value. Many people dream of discovering one of these coins in their pocket change, imagining it could instantly transform their fortune overnight. In 1955, the United States Mint produced millions of Lincoln Wheat Pennies, including those with the D mint mark, indicating they were struck in Denver. These coins were made primarily of copper, giving them that classic reddish-brown tone. Over time, circulation wears down their details, softens Lincoln's profile, and dulls the shine. Yet even in worn condition, these coins still carry historical significance, connecting collectors to a time when pennies had greater purchasing power and everyday meaning. The true excitement around the 1955 penny comes not just from its age, but from its variations. While a standard 1955 penny in circulated condition is usually worth only a modest amount, often a few cents to a few dollars, there are rare error coins from that year that have stunned the numismatic world. These errors, created during the minting process, can turn an ordinary-looking coin into something extraordinary. One of the most famous examples is the 1955 double-die penny. But importantly, that rare variety was produced in Philadelphia and does not carry a D mint mark. This distinction is crucial. Many people mistakenly believe any 1955 penny could be worth a fortune, but in reality only specific error types command extremely high prices. A 1955 penny, even in worn condition, typically does not fall into that ultra-rare category. However, collectors still pay attention to condition, even for common coins. A circulated 1955 Lincoln Wheat penny may show scratches, fatting, and discoloration, but if it retains clear lettering and recognizable details, it can still hold collectible value. Coins graded in higher conditions, even slightly above average, can fetch more interest among enthusiasts. Copper composition also plays a role in its appeal. Unlike modern pennies, which are mostly zinc, the 1955 penny is made of 95% copper. This gives it a solid, weighty feel and a rich color that ages beautifully over time. For many collectors, this alone makes it worth keeping, even if its market price remains relatively low. The idea that such a coin could make someone a millionaire overnight is more myth than reality, but it's a powerful myth that fuels curiosity and treasure hunting. Stories of rare coins selling for thousands or even hundreds of thousands of dollars do exist, but they are tied to extremely rare errors or pristine, uncirculated examples, not typical worn coins found in everyday circulation. Still, the thrill of possibility is what keeps collectors searching. Every old jar of coins, every inherited collection, and every forgotten drawer could potentially hold something special. The 1955 Lincoln Wheat Penny, including the Denver minted version, represents that hope, the idea that history and value might be hiding in plain sight. Historically, the Lincoln Wheat Penny series ran from 1909 to 1958, marking nearly half a century of American coinage tradition. Designed with Abraham Lincoln on the front and wheat stalks on the reverse, these coins became an iconic symbol of American heritage. By 1955, they were already a familiar part of daily life, passed from hand to hand across the country. For collectors today, the value of a 1955 penny lies more in its story than its price. It reflects a time of post-war America, economic growth, and simple transactions where a penny still mattered. Holding one is like holding a small piece of that era, worn down by decades of use yet still enduring. Even though most 1955 pennies won't bring life-changing money, they can still be part of a valuable collection when combined with other coins. Collectors often seek complete sets of Lincoln Wheat pennies, and each date and mint mark plays a role in completing that historical puzzle. If you believe you have a special 1955 penny, it's worth examining it closely. Look for unusual features such as doubling, off-center strikes, or other mint errors. While rare, these characteristics can significantly increase a coin's value. Consulting a professional coin grader or experienced collector can help determine its true worth. The dream of becoming instantly wealthy from a single coin may be rare, but the journey of collecting, learning, and discovering is where the real value lies. Coins like the 1955 Lincoln Wheat Penny remind us that even the smallest objects can carry deep history and meaning. In the end, your 1955 Lincoln Wheat Penny may not make you a billionaire overnight, but it can still be a treasure in its own right. Its copper surface, worn edges, and historical roots make it a fascinating piece of the past. And who knows, the next coin you find might just be the one that surprises you.